Hello everyone, in this video I'll be ranking the Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree DLC NPCs on this tier list. So we got first here Dryleaf Dane. Now what's cool about Dryleaf Dane is you get the cool martial arts punching and kicking attacks from him. So he's definitely worth interacting with. You got to get the Monk's Duel, the little gesture there, you do a little bang. And you're just going to see him. He doesn't talk to you, just says ... But if you do that, it'll bring you into an invasion where you can fight against him and get yourself that punching attack. Now, later on in the game, you get the kicking version of it. So he is a pretty decent NPC overall. I'm going to put him in the A tier. He doesn't say too much, but it's a fun fight. Not too challenging. I used Rolana's swords against him, and it just staggered him with the fire damage one. So pretty fun fight in general, but one of the coolest weapons in the entire game. So got to be A tier for that. Next, we got Redmane Freya. So this is one of the first NPCs that we're going to find. She's got a pretty cool looking helmet. It's got like an actual face on it. Now, she can help out during the Divine Beast Dancing Lion boss fight, so it's nice to be able to have a summon there. And her questline, it progresses into the Shadow Keep, where she's up looking for records. Now, in the Shadow Keep, they have a bunch of, there's a library where we can find Ansbach, and then up top, she's in a different area by her grace, and she's also looking through the records there. So her questline, obviously, she's a red main, so it's involving Radahn. A very interesting questline too, because she's trying to figure out what happened to Radahn. Ansbach's trying to figure out what happened to Moog, and they kind of come together. Like, you can get an item from him to give it to her, and then she'll give you the Golden Lion Shield, which is a pretty nice weapon, or a pretty nice shield. So I think that she's a pretty decent NPC. I might put her in the B tier, maybe upwards of probably A tier. Now, what's interesting is if you talk to her, she'll talk about how she got scarlet rot on her face, and then Mikla is the one that was able to cure her of that. Kind of an interesting, because Millennia, being Mikla's sister there, caused that pain to her. And also, I just seen an image recently. You can remove her helmet. Well, you can, but with console commands, you can remove her helmet, and she actually has scarlet rot on her face. Interesting looking character. She's no Selin, I'll say that. But yeah, A tier for Redmane Freya. Next, we got Curse You, Bale! Igon. Coolest NPC in From Software history, I would say. He is one of the most hype. So Egon's questline is interesting. So you first find him, and he's just crying on the side of the road. Don't attack him. He asks you to end him, but don't. He's actually, he's a really cool NPC. So you first see him there. Later on in the game, you're going to be progressing through the Jagged Peak. And once you get up top on the mountain, there's going to be an area where there's two Jagged Peak drakes fighting each other. So take out the one with the health bar, and then Igon will show up laughing and being all fired up because you're a true Drake warrior. And he likes that. So he actually rips his finger off right then and there and says, go find Bale, call me. So then once you go to fight Bale, inside the arena, you can summon him. What's nice about that is if you summon someone outside of an arena, it buffs the boss's health. But if they're inside the arena, it doesn't actually buff the health. So you pretty much want to bring in Igon during the Bale fight. He just basically stands there with a bow. He will do some dragon incantations, but he mostly just shoots his bow and pulls aggro from time to time. So I highly recommend doing that questline because you get a nice helper for that fight, one. But two, this goes without saying, Egon's dialogue during that fight is incredible. I've listened to it tons of times already because it just got me hype. And also, Bale's a pretty challenging fight. But he comes in, literally the moment you summon him, he goes, curse you, Bale! And then he just rambles off. Literally, what it feels like is Captain Ahab and Moby Dick. Like, it looks like he found his white whale, and he's just losing his mind the whole fight. It's extremely, extremely fun. I found this to be one of the best spectacle boss fights because the arena itself's cool. Bale is cool. He literally has Placidusac's heads bit onto him. And then we got Igon, who just pushes the whole boss fight over the edge in terms of its coolness. So I could talk all day about Igon. I'm not going to yap anymore about him. He's just the GOAT. Easy S tier. Next, we have Count Ymir. And this is one of the coolest NPCs I just talked about. This is one of the weirdest NPCs. Definitely the weirdest in Elden Ring. So he wants to be Finger Mother. So he has his little hand there that he's cradling. And actually kind of a sad questline too, because you can go outside and there's a grave there that he'll be like mourning the loss of his son there, and you can see how he's like kind of affected by that. Yolan is there as well, so she's got a whole quest line too, which you can get a really cool katana from. But I'm gonna put Ymir in the D tier because it just freaked me out. His whole part was scary. And then you get to fight the Finger Mother boss, which is also pretty freakishly eldritch looking. It's just this big bunch of fingers and hands. It's gross. But then you come back up, and then he becomes a Finger Mother, and he's spitting it. He literally spits out a bunch of finger crawlers at you. So disgusting, disgusting, disgusting. Freaked me out. I'm gonna put him in the D tier. There may be some Count Ymir fans. I don't know, but yeah, D tier. Next we have Moore, and I think this is another extremely sad story in Elden Ring's DLC. Now, every From Software NPC, pretty much every single one of them has a sad story. I can't even name a single one that has a happy ending. Maybe like Raya. Even then, it's still kind of sad. Moore is an S tier, though. He just sits there collecting things. He likes to... Talking to him has always been a pleasure. Like, he seems pretty chill, which is rare because there's not many chill beings in the Lands Between or the Land of Shadow, so... Moore is a real one for keeping it down. He's a merchant. I think the only really real merchant in this DLC. So he's a chill dude, and he just collects stuff. He's kind of like a little, I don't know how to describe him, but got a good voice actor too. So easy S tier. I think Moore is awesome, and protect him at all costs. Next we got the Horn Scent Grand Am, and this is an interesting little quest line that you can go through. So this is actually the announcer. When you go into the Divine Beast Dancing Lion boss room, there's that person talking. It's actually them. And they also have a full quest line, which is an interesting quest line because it'll give you some items that are fairly useful. So it'll give you the soup, which gives you boosted damage negation as well as an overtime heal. And then you can get a super soup, which is a better version of that. So the quest line's interesting though. You have to first beat the Divine Beast Dancing Lion. If you try to talk, you also have to find the storage room key. So once you find that, you can go into the room, and they're just going to be there. Now, if you don't have the lion's helmet equipped, she won't talk to you, but once you put it on, then she'll converse with you, and then you can progress through her quest line there. It involves you having to beat Mesmer because she is a Horn Scent, and obviously the Horn Scent are also like omens, same thing, just different language. And they obviously got massacred by Mesmer. So once you take down Mesmer, you can further progress her quest line. It's a pretty decent one, so I'll put it in the B tier because she gives her really great items. One of the few cutscenes in this game involves them, so yeah, B tier. Next we got Sir Ansbach, and if Igon didn't exist, he would be my favorite NPC in this game. Igon's just such a awesome spectacle of a guy, but Ansbach is a real one. He has got a really great voice actor, 1. 2, he's a follower of Mohg, and he gives probably the most lore explanations in the DLC. He's trying to figure out what happened to Mohg, and then he figures it out that Miquella has used his body, and then you can actually bring him to the final boss fight. He's a real one. All the others try to fight you and shut you down, but he'll actually come all the way with you to the final boss. And then once you're fighting the final boss, his dialogue's really cool. Sir Radahn, it's an honor to be fighting against you, but that body is not yours. I actually didn't get the dialogue correct, but something along the lines of that. It's actually a little bit harder to fight against Radahn with him because he boosts Radahn's health because he's outside the boss arena. So I wasn't able to beat Radahn with him. Maybe I'll try that again this next playthrough, but you still get his items even if you don't summon him to the Radahn boss fight. So, yeah, really cool NPC in general. I think Ansbach has got to be one of the probably my second favorite NPC in the entire Elden Ring, just because he's such a gentleman and he's trying to figure out what happened to Mohg. It also gives some really interesting lore in what happened to Mogwyn's dynasty, because Mogwyn's dynasty used to have a lot of knights similar to the pureblood knights, similar to Ansbach. However, when we go there, it's a ton of Albinarics, which they were trying to find their way to the Halig tree. There's a teleporter in the consecrated snowlands that takes you to Mogwyn's dynasty, and that's how the Albinarics ended up there, and also in that famous farming spot they ended up there. But yeah, Ansbach is incredible. I would say easy S tier. I could talk about him all day too, similar to Igon. Next we have Horn Scent, and this guy kind of a little stinker. He's obviously wearing a mask there. He's an omen. He's mad at Mesmer. You can actually summon him for the Mesmer fight, and he has not the same dialogue as Igon, but still fired up, like mad at Mesmer for what he's done to his people. Team America, though, don't love the omens, so I'm gonna put him in the C tier. He's an alright character, but yeah, you end up fighting him at some point. So yeah, I feel like C tier. I don't love his character. I'm trying to keep this list as balanced as possible. So yeah, C tier. Next we have Needle Knight Leda. Lee. I'm not sure the pronunciation. Leda. I forget what she says. So she's kind of like the head honcho main lady in terms of like the Miquella's followers. She's got really cool armor, cool sword. Also, she kind of looks like Miquella with like the blonde hair and stuff. I'll be using her image in the thumbnail. So yeah, I would say she's A tier. You do have to fight her. She is kind of brainwashed, which is sad because that's what Miquella did to a lot of people. But then she still believes in her beliefs after that broke. So yeah, I'll put her probably in the A tier, maybe B tier, somewhere around there. And then finally we have Tholier. I don't know how to pronounce it. Tholier. Someone correct me. This is, if you look at the mask, you've seen this character actually in the Elden Ring DLC trailer announcement, and they were laying down in that field of purple. They are heavily related to St. Trina's questline, and I think St. Trina's got a really cool piece of the story, so I'd highly recommend doing their questline. I'm going to put them in the A tier for that because very interesting how you can progress through their entire questline, and you can also summon them to the final boss fight. So I wouldn't recommend doing it. Fighting the final boss without any summons is a lot easier. Also, you can use a fingerprint shield to make it a little bit easier. I have a full guide on how to beat the final boss if you're looking for that. But yeah, they are a pretty cool character overall. So heavily related to St. Trina's story, which is answers some question and raises some more. So there it is. There's the best NPCs in the Elden Ring Shadow, the Erdtree DLC. Let me know in the comments your thoughts, what your favorite NPCs are. Again, this is just subjective, my opinion. So if you don't agree with it, just let me know in the comments politely. I like to have dialogue about this because it's kind of fun talking about the NPCs in Elden Ring since they're so ambiguous and they don't really give you a whole lot of information. So dialogue on the internet is kind of where we get all our fun and information from. So yeah, feel free to drop a comment. Igon, Ansbach, and more easy S tiers. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you found this video fun, please hit that subscribe button below, and I'll see you all in the next video.